Hello and welcome back to this third video in our series of Scratch videos. Today we're looking at interacting with our environment. So we're going to create a new project and we're going to call it Project 3. Change the name of Untitled 18 to Project 3. And in this particular example we're looking a bit more in terms of how the sprites, the backgrounds interact with each other. So how they actually talk to one another. So we have our learning intentions and success criteria for today. Today we're simply going to create a simple program that will enable a sprite to interact with its environment. And here are listed in the success criteria a series of things that you will be able to do by the end of this project. So we will be able to make our sprites bounce off the edge of our stage. We'll be able to make the sprite interact with another sprite. We'll be able to edit the stage backdrop. Previously we've just imported these, we'll actually be able to edit it today. We'll be able to make our sprite interact with different colours. We'll be able to set X and Y coordinates, and we'll be able to use the timer within our Scratch environment. So we've opened the new file. Once again, as for the previous video, we're going to delete the cat so that we have a blank canvas. And we're going to import the beach ball. So this time we're going to import a sprite down here, and we're going to bring the beach ball in this particular time. So beach ball. Okay, so we're going to add what's called a forever loop. Now, a forever loop is found in control, and basically what happens is anything inside this loop will carry out forever until the game is stopped. So it'll keep looping on, and it's a continuous loop. So we've added that in, and we're going to add some bits of scripting, and this is all to do with making the ball move around about the screen continuously. So we're going to add in a motion block, and it's going to be move 10 steps. So we'll add that block in. And what we also want the ball to do is turn, because if we try that just now and we run it, it's not actually doing anything. That's because we haven't programmed that code to work under a button. So we're going to put an event in, and the event is going to be when the green flag is clicked. Now, as in previous videos, we can now try that and see what happens. So the ball is moving, but it's not bouncing off the side of the stage, and it's only moving in the one direction. So what we want to do is we want to add a different block in that says turn 15 degrees. Okay. We're going to change that number, however, as you can see, that's just going around in a circle, to 1. So that when we try and run that now. Okay, our ball is moving around, but it's off the screen. We can't actually see it just now. So we need to fix that. And the way we fix that is we use another motion block, which says if on edge bounce, and that will detect if the ball is hitting any of the edges of our stage. So we're going to put that in underneath there, and what should now happen is if we try and run that, the ball should now bounce off the edge and be turning. So the ball is now continuously moving around the screen. We don't have to put any more code in to make that work. So what I'll do is I'll let you have a try of deleting the cat, importing the beach ball and coding it, and I'll see you back here in a second. Okay, hopefully you've all had a chance to do that. What we're now going to do is we're going to make the ball interact with another sprite, and the sprite that we're going to import this time is a crab. We'll look for crab. There we are. So now we have a crab and we have a beach ball, and we have two different sprites now. So the beach ball has the code that we gave it earlier on, and the crab currently has no code at all. Now I'm going to make this crab slightly smaller. I'm going to click on the shrink tool up here and make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to make sure that if I click on the info sign, it only goes left and right. It doesn't go up and down, so it goes left and right. And I'm going to move the crab down to the bottom of the stage, so just so that it's on, but at the bottom of the stage in the centre. And I'm going to move my ball up here out the road. Now what I'm going to do with the crab is I'm going to give it some code, so I'm going to give it some script. Go to the crab, make sure it's going left and right. It is. And I'm going to give it some script. And what I'm going to do with the crab is I'm going to put an event on it, so when the green flag is clicked, that's what's controlling the ball currently as well. I'm going to put a forever loop. Again, this forever loop indicates that whatever's inside the loop will carry on or continue for the duration of the program whilst it's running. And what I'm going to do now is use what's called a conditional statement, called an if statement. Basically, this will only ever execute if the bit that's inside here is carried out. And this bit that's inside here is going to be found from sensing, and it's going to be key pressed. So if a particular key is pressed, this bit of code will be carried out. If it's not pressed, then it'll be ignored, it'll never be carried out. So I'm going to change that from the space key to the right arrow. And what I'm going to tell the program is if somebody presses, or if the user presses the right arrow, what I want the crab to do is point in the right hand direction, so change that to right, and I want it to move 10 steps, only if the right arrow is pressed. And this will happen as long as the program is running, because it's inside the forever loop. Now what I want to do is I want to duplicate that bit of code, so I'm going to right click on the word if, duplicate that, and I'm going to put that right underneath that one. That's a carbon copy of the one above. I'm going to change right arrow to left arrow, and I'm going to change the direction from right to left. So what this basically means is when I click on the green flag, a loop will start and it will run for the duration of the program, and only if the right or the left arrow keys are pressed will it point left, point right, and move 10 steps in that direction. Let's try it out. Green flag, left arrow and right arrow. Now it's going off the stage. What else we notice is that the crab and the ball are independent of each other. They're not, doesn't matter if the bat or the crab hits the ball, they are not talking to each other just now. But we have a ball that's moving around, and we have a crab that is moving left and right when we press and hold down the left and right buttons. Give that a try. Remember, this code here belongs to the crab. That code there belongs to the ball. Give it a go and we'll see you back in a second to make the sprites interact with each other. Okay, one thing that we didn't finish off in that last example was the crab. The crab currently can go off the screen. To fix that, very simply, we go back to our motion blocks and we put in an if on edge bounce. Now, it's very important as to where we put this, because if we put it in there, it will only ever be carried out if the right arrow key is pressed. If we put it in there, it'll only ever be carried out if the left arrow key is pressed. So we could have it in both, but what we'll do is we'll just put it outside the if statement so that regardless of which key is pressed, it will always bounce if it's on the edge. Let's try that out. There we are. So the crab will not go any further forward. Now what's happening with the interaction here? We haven't got the crab talking to the ball, so we're going to now fix that, and we're going to add that into our ball script. So if we go back to the beach ball, we have the current script here, which is making the ball move round about the screen and bounce off the edge. Now what we're going to do is put another control in. We're going to put another if statement, a conditional statement in, underneath the ball moving around, because this statement only applies if a certain condition is met. And this condition in this case is going to come from sensing, and it's going to be touching. So if the ball in this case, because that's what we're coding, is touching the crab, then something happens. So what we're going to do in this particular case is we're going to turn the ball around and point it in a different direction. So we'll go to motion, point in direction, and we'll just say point up the way. Let's try that. So now, if the crab and the ball touch each other, we should find that the ball bounces in a different direction. And there you go. So we can start to see very quickly that we're now building up essentially a game where the crab and the ball are interacting with each other. And you don't have to just take my values. We can go in here now and we can change these values. So we can change that 1 to 3 degrees, see what difference that's making on the ball, 0.5, so half. It might be that that is making the ball move more realistically. So please play about with the numbers, particularly the turn number and the move steps. If we change the number of steps to 5, the ball goes slower. If we change it to 20, the ball goes faster, and so on. So these numbers are all around to be played with. So get to that point just now, and we'll see you back here in a second to get the backgrounds changed. In previous examples, we have imported a backdrop, but however, today we're going to paint our own one. So we click on backdrop, stage backdrop, and if we go to backdrops, the tab up here, the current stage is blank, it's white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the little paintbrush that allows me to paint my own backdrop. And over here, we can see that we now have the tools to zoom in, zoom out, and we have a series of paint tools over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the paintbrush tool. I'm going to make the brush quite thick, the line width. I'm going to pick the colour yellow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a bit bigger. I'm going to draw yellow down the bottom, like that. Now what that is emulating is, in my case, a beach. It's going to look like sand. So what I now have on my beach is the crab, which is on the sand. I can move that around, and we have the ball. So just by adding in that slight piece of yellow, I've now made it look like a beach. Now, the problem is that if the ball hits the beach now, we want it to be out of bounds, so the game is over if the ball hits the beach. If I run the program currently, that doesn't happen, it goes beyond the beach. So what I want to do is go back to the ball, change that back down to 10, it's going a bit fast, and I want to put another if statement in. So I've already told it if it touches the crab, it will change direction. I want to put another one in saying if touching a colour. Now the colour, I'm going to click on the colour, a little square there, and I'm going to pick the colour from over here, so the yellow. If it's touching yellow, then what I want it to do is I want to make sure that the game is over. Okay, so before I do that though, I'm going to say something for 2 seconds, and what I'm going to say is game over. And then I'm going to go to an event and a control symbol, and I'm going to stop the game from running. So the ball will stop and the game will stop. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so the crab, game over, and it should now stop, so I can't move when I press the buttons on my screen. Okay, so just a reminder, that's the code for the beach ball currently, and that's the code for the crab. We have 2 separate sprites, and they are each coded individually, and they are talking to each other now. Okay, so give that a go, and we'll see you back just to finish it off at the end. Okay, lastly guys, we have a game that works. The crab bounces the beach ball. However, we have to pick the beach ball up at the start and place it above the crab before we start the game. We're going to add in a block that will make the beach ball start at the same point every time. And this is very straightforward. All we have to do is add a motion block, which if we put the ball where we want it to go, the X and Y coordinates will change. If you look in there, you'll see them changing. So we put it where we want it to go, and then we drag that motion block into when the green flag is clicked. So when the green flag is clicked, the ball will always go to that position. Let's try that out. Start it again, we'll see the ball is always going back to the same point. Okay, give that a go, and the last thing that we'll do is we'll add a timer to our game. Very quickly then, if we go to sensing, the last thing that we can do is, there's a timer already built into Scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to tick that box beside timer, which will put a timer up on our screen. You can see that going up there. Now, we're going to put the timer into the speed or the code that operates the ball. So this bit here, the beach ball code. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a reset timer to the start of our code, because at the start of the game, we want the timer to be 0. There will be no point in putting it down at the bottom. We have to think about programs in a logical order, in the order that we want things to be carried out. Now let's test that one. Stop. Restart the game. We should see the timer going back to 0 every time we restart. That's what we want to be happening. Now, what we also want to be happening is we're going to put a third loop inside our if statement. We're going to put that inside there. And again, this will only happen for the duration of the game if this particular action is going to happen. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the timer to stop the game. So we're going to put a block in that says if one thing is greater than the other. And that code is going to say at this point in time, if the timer, which we have already in sensing, if the timer is greater than 10, then we're going to say you win. So we're going to go to looks, we're going to say you win. So basically, if they are able to keep the ball up in the air or off of the beach for more than 10 seconds, then we're going to win the game, and to finish off, we will stop the game from running. So what we now have, guys, is 2 programs or 2 scripts working collaboratively together. And we have our crab, which is the script is moving the crab left and right, and it's stopping it if it's on the edge, it's bouncing it back. And then we have our ball, which is making sure the ball is working, but it's also got a series of if statements in, which allows interaction with colours, other characters, and also a timer. Okay, so good luck with that. Remember to save at the end, and we'll see you for the next video.